Well, everybody, welcome back to the Champions Podcast. And today is going to be very, very special for me. Today we have the honor and the privilege of hearing from a buddy of mine, Quinn Posey, and he's going to share a little whatever he wants to. But spoiler alert, he just got back from a week-long experience with a program that was and has been and in some ways still is very instrumental in my life, and that was the American Legion program known as Palmetto Boys State. What Palmetto Boys State is, and Quinn will talk a little bit more about that in a little bit, is a program sponsored by the American Legion, and then Girl State is sponsored by the American Legion Auxiliary. And those two programs are week long. Boy State meets at Anderson, and then Girl State meets at Presbyterian College. And so they teach all about leadership and government and what makes the government what it is, how it's formed, all the rules and regulations behind it. But even more so than that, it teaches a lot about leadership and just character and wisdom and just a lot of different things that I think impact young men and young women, rising seniors. And so, Quinn, why don't you tell us a little bit about what it is, what it was like, anything that you would like to share? And it's an honor to have you on, bud.
All right, guys. I'm Quinn. Honestly, when I first thought of Boy State, I was thinking it was going to be a week-long classes. You're going back and forth, schedules. You're never going to sit down. And honestly, when I first got there Sunday, I was like, man, this is too much. And I was honestly second guessing myself whether I wanted to go home or not. And throughout the week, it definitely changed my perspective on getting to know people because you first start out in the city, and I was in the great city of Waccamaw, and you basically come up with chants throughout the week, and you go against other cities chanting, and it was just a great time going against cities, and we would have amazing chant battles and getting to know everybody. It was really fun. I would definitely like, how would I say this? For younger people, I would definitely enjoy Boy State if I were y'all. I'd sign up, try your best because the interview, I was not really, I wasn't really thinking about what it was actually going to be. I was kind of confused, really, but I really enjoyed my week.
And Champ
What
obviously has had the privilege of going to Boys State as well. Would you say that, because you obviously said you went in, you did have an open mind, but it just turned out to be something you weren't expecting in a way. Do you think, as obviously with your age, do you think that it maybe has, because Champ talks about this even to today, and he's in his 30s, how it shaped him. Do you think that it did the same for you, or just kind of changing anything in your life or the way you saw something, maybe?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I know I'm a lot more open-minded now because Friday night is the night where you talk about your weaknesses with guys you've only met for a week. And I can tell you about 30 of us from that room. I mean, we all broke down in tears because, I mean, it's just stories you would never think that a 17-year-old would have to talk about family, faith, really anything. And it was just really shocking that they were so open to strangers. And it was just showing you how much this week changed them.
what do you think is one of the most impactful parts about it?
Probably when they were talking about faith, because we actually had two people within our group, I think, were talking about how they felt like they were led astray. And honestly, the past couple of years, they said that they weren't doing the best faith wise. And I could tell you probably 10 of the people after them shared verses out the Bible, and it just kind of, you could see it kind of fill their hearts. They were smiling. They felt hopefully better about their faith.
What I get from hearing this is about community. It's a
Hmm.
community that kind of is a no judgment zone, which, and especially I would say it's important for anyone of any age, honestly, to have that, but especially the youth and what the youth experiences and all the pressures and society pressures. And then you get people in there, and you, like you said, the stories that were pouring out of people that you would have never expected to hear from a 17-year-old. And and y'all can argue this because I'm the only female in the room here, but sometimes I do feel like it's harder for guys to open up because they have that. I call it the Hulk mentality. You want to be strong. You want to not show that how stuff impacts you. Now, Champ will argue that too, to say that he shows his emotions all the time, which is a very beautiful thing. Do you think being able to be in the room and see the no judgment with people, and you can assume this because I don't know what you shared with them, obviously, but do you think it kind of had y'all all go away from it as we're not judged, we're human, we all struggle? Because as we talk about here on the podcast all the time, we all struggle with something. And another reason we do this podcast is to show everybody has a story, but it's feeling relatable. Now, everybody not may have had the same story in the room that y'all were sharing, but y'all shared something in common: faith. The love to say, I don't know this person, but I love them, through Christ. I love them as a brother in Christ, and wow, what they have gone through. I guess when you take that away, what a powerful moment that is for community to not judge and to sit and listen. And Champ will say that all the time. Sometimes it's just sitting and listening, not necessarily putting your input, but just listening to people. Do you feel like with whatever you shared that night, do you feel like in a way that it kind of helped you more than you thought it may, being able to share and have that no judgment zone?
It did. I mean, I could tell you some of what I talked about. I talked about coming into the week. I mean, I always try to get involved in groups, and I've always struggled with like body.
Mhm.
I'm overweight, and just trying to fit in with people that are more athletic, more into sports, and opening up to them. It was like they were so understanding. Because I mean, there's people all sizes, like skin tone, all different. I mean, but towards the end of the week, it was like you're just talking to your family members. It was really nice because they open up too. It's not just me because I actually started out and I told them, and then from there it just went on.
What? So you talk about Heather, we talk about faith, but there are even folks who don't share the faith, right? But they still realize their humanness in a week like that. Um, so what did that do for you as far as opening up doors and opening up mindsets of understanding that people, there are different people that think differently, that talk differently, that act differently, that respond differently. What was that like for you?
It was honestly really encouraging. Like, I can tell you, one of the boys that was in our group told us straight off the bat that he did not go to church, that he was an atheist, and he started going to this Christian summer camp that actually shared a message each year. And we sat down for it only took us about 5 minutes, downloaded an app, and we went through a small lesson, and it just showed you how much like faith can do in anything. I mean, Boys State is all about having fun, getting to know each other, and I would have never expected faith to be such a big part in it.
Also, Quinn doesn't never likes to toot his own horn, but I am incredibly proud of him because Quinn didn't just go into Boy State and love it. Quinn made a impact on how many guys were in the program?
I think it was 1,200,
A little bit over 1,200, a little bit over.
a little bit over.
A little bit over. So, at the end of the week, there are different awards and scholarships that are given out on a Friday night. And Quinn, what award or what kind of adoration did you receive throughout this week?
So basically, I had no clue about this award until I actually was nominated. It was Best Citizen of the Year. So out of the 1,200 men that were there, I got number one for, best attitude, like chanting. I, if you knew Boys State, you chant a lot. Everywhere you walk, you chant. You get into chant battles with other teams, and I can tell you, I mean, I'm not ashamed. They would crowd up to the front, and I would take off my shirt, and we had a 6-pack drone on me, and I would just walk through and chant at everybody. And I think everybody had an amazing week, just laughing, having fun. I mean, there was no nothing to be ashamed about there because there was men bigger than me taking their shirts off, but it was really fun.
Well,
And I just
congratulations on getting that. That is absolutely amazing. I want to shift gears just a minute. If we're going from Boy State, do you have any like dreams that you're trying to reach in life? Like, do you have any career goals that you have already? I know some people have that planned out and some people may still be thinking about it. Is that something on your mind that you kind of know what you want to do in life, or you're just still thinking about it?
I'm still thinking about it. I know a lot of people I talk to, they say I'm really well with talking to others. Like, I can walk up to a stranger and I will talk to him like he's my friend. Um, I'm trying to think. Probably, I like to go in the gospel. I know a lot of people told me that I would be a really good pastor because I'm outgoing, and it's just right now I'm still in high school, and it's a lot to think about. But hopefully, before I graduate, I'll have a plan.
Well, if
what
you need a mentor, there's one sitting on the other side of the screen that can tell you all about being a pastor.
No, no. Quinn is cool. One of the things, and one of the things that I want to solidify about this conversation today is Heather. You talked about we want to hear from younger voices, but Quinn just has a way about connecting with people, and it's really encouraging to see the way, like, here you talk about you being able to go up to a random stranger and just share, your passions, but also just getting to know that person. Um, and it's not, for me, I think it's all about how you just relate. Are you relatable to people? And Quinn has a gift in in that field, in that area. One of the things that I want to talk to you about for a minute, Quinn, is what would you say, like, what are your goals as far as what would you say to a younger version of yourself, maybe somebody in middle school who's kind of looking to you and saying, all right, how do you do it? What's the gift for the gab? What's the expectation? What's the hope? What would you say?
Well, honestly, I would redo a couple things. I'm definitely not a perfect person. I would tell my younger self to pick better crowds because honestly, you think that you're in the right crowd in some moments and you get caught up in the worst things that you wouldn't want to have possible. Um, I know a lot of the younger people say that they want to grow up and they're ready to drive, they're ready to, do everything. But honestly, I'd go back and do some things different because there's definitely some things I miss.
And Champ talks about, and he mentioned this a few episodes ago actually, about how your generation is the next generation of believers. You know, one day when our generation is gone, your generation is going to be our generation is what it is now. And I commend you on being bold in your faith because I know that the society in a way sometimes is different than it was years ago. I mean, there's more pressures than ever and more negative talk than ever when you have somebody that says, I'm a Christian, I'm not afraid to be bold, I'm not afraid to talk about Jesus. And you kind of sometimes, not everyone, but there's probably some people that go, oh, there's that guy again talking about Jesus. But what a beautiful thing to be able to say, I talk about Jesus. I'm not afraid to be in my skin and know that I'm a child of God. That, you're talking about, you talk well with people, and you could see yourself going into gospel. And I think that there's something there profound, because a lot of people would probably get on a podcast and not want to say, well, I'm a, as a teenager, well, I'm all about Jesus. But what an amazing thing that you have the confidence to say, look, I've made mistakes, but here I am. I want to do what the Lord's called me to do, and I'm not afraid of my faith and staying bold. And so I want to commend you on that, because, as Champ says, you are the next generation of worshipers. And it's so important, because there's going to be people that watch this episode that maybe they're a teenager, maybe it could be even a college age student. You're going to be touching people by the maturity you have to sit here and say, no, I'm not perfect, but this is what I'm doing now, and I'm living for Jesus. And so I want to thank you for that, because that is exactly what people need to hear, is that the younger generation are not afraid.
Quinn, one of the things that Quinn talked about, and I want you to kind of expound on this a little bit. You said you used the phrase a little differently than most people would, and you said, "I want to go into the gospel." Um, and the word gospel is simply good news. Why do you think you want to share that? What about the good news is good news for you, Quinn?
Well, I mean, the good news is I know my Lord and Savior is Jesus Christ, and I know there's a lot of people in this world that might not have a clue, might not even know the word Jesus. Um, but I've always wanted to help out people. I've always been involved. We go to Salkehatchie each year, and I've always loved going and helping. Um, I got amazing youth leaders, Chris Shelby, Amy, and all of them. They've always helped me to help others, and I really enjoy it.
And can you talk about Salkehatchie a little bit? Because obviously Champ knows all about Salkehatchie. What about that for you? Because you talk about you have amazing leaders, which obviously I know Shelby and Chris. What is it like for you compared to when you first went there to going now, your experience, you would say, like, how has that been for you to go? Because a lot of people don't understand mission trips, right? They don't understand what's so special about it. What's so different than just volunteering around town? Like, what's different about going to Salkehatchie?
Right. Salkehatchie, it's a week-long experience. Our camp is in Hampton County, and we stay at a Christian camp called, or Christian Champ. What's the name of the camp? I think it's Christian Camp.
Camp Christian. Camp Christian.
Camp Christian. And you go on site, you take tours of houses that are less fortunate. They don't have the money to fix their houses mainly. And throughout the week, you're just seeing through what they see. I mean, it's really telling you how much faith they have in strangers that they don't even know to fix their house that they live in on a day to day basis. And at the end of the week, it is almost like their family. You know that they are super proud of you. They've expected the best out of us, and we hope to give the best to them.
Champ, how has it been for you? Because obviously you've been able to see him go through that, and I know how much it means to you to experience that, and you've talked about that openly. What's it been like for you to watch Quinn kind of become the man that he's become?
Well, I'm gonna be very brief in this because I could talk about Quinn for all day long. Just to encourage him and just to uplift him. But I think one of the things that I've seen is just his boldness has grown. And your boldness always grows with something like Salkatchi, right? Because just as you said, you go into these people's homes that don't know you, and then you become like a family. You appreciate them because it's not just about the work that you do in a home. It's about the work that God does in and through you and what they do for you, right? We're going in thinking we're going to help them, but there are things that they reveal to us about ourselves. And so those kinds of things. Just Quinn's love for things like this. Quinn is a person who loves people, and his love for people has just accelerated. Whether that be Salkatchi, whether that be Boy State. There's a phrase you leave a boy, but you come back a man, right? For Boy State particularly. And you just learn a lot about yourself. You learn about what you're capable of. You learn about who you are. But that's and Quinn, you can jump into this. I think that's one of the biggest struggles that your generation and the generations behind me have is like figuring out who the heck we are and what we're sent on this earth to do. Everybody's, for years has tried to figure that out. But just watching his boldness and his courage. Quinn also helped this year with even more with the Thunderstalk hatching. And just watching his leadership ability is so strong, and I'm so proud of him and just who he is and what he's done. So, anything final that you want to share, dude?
That's about it. Thank y'all very much, and thank you for letting me come on here and share my message. I hope I get to touch a man, a woman younger than me, and give them the courage.
Well, let's end on one final
That was
question. Mhm.
fire right there. I hope I get to
Mhm.
touch them, and I hope I get to give them oh
Well,
ooh.
let's end on a final question so that Champ can calm down.
Ooh.
Uh, if you would say, so we like to ask this question. What does it mean to be a champion? Now, it can be a champion of Christ, it can be just a champion in general, but obviously you are a champion. So, what would you say the word champion means to you?
Champion to me will probably be you learn from your mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. But there's one man that never made mistakes, and you follow that man for the rest of your life.
Love it, love it. Champ's on fire over there now. He's
I can't.
just
All
pumping the
right,
heat.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm so
Quinn,
fired
thank you
up.
so much just for coming on
Thank you.
here and being open. And we're wishing you the best of luck going forward and just keep rocking it because you're doing a great job.
Thank y'all. I enjoyed it.
All right. Tune back in next week for another episode of The Champions, and God bless you.